What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 61 of the Foundation First Fitness Show with Bob Echo. And today we are talking about running. Yes, running again. The weather is getting nice. People are out there running. And today I got a great question, which was, how do you get rid of the soreness or stretching for the soreness that's going to be coming from that shin? So I want to make one thing very clear, because I want to make sure that we don't get these things confused. There's two different pains, and there's two different areas that'll feel pain in the shin. So you don't want to make sure we're talking about the right one and you're thinking about the right one, because if you get them confused, they will not. Will they help? Nah, they probably. Oh, they might be. They're kind of contributed, but again, they're not going to be really caused by the same things all that much. So the first thing is you want to make sure you're not talking about shin splints. Shin splints are really an irritation of the bones. So there's tissue between the bones. It's the irritation of both those bones in your leg that are shifting that's causing that irritation. So when that bone gets irritated, you're getting something we call shin splints. You're getting that irritation. It's an inflammation. You have to wait for that to go away. I'm talking about the soreness that's coming from running, that's going to be more on the outside portion of your leg. That's going to be it's going to be off the center bone. So you're going to be, just off of the shin area, the actual shin bone that you can really easily feel when you rub your hand up your leg. That muscle, that meaty area, is usually going to get sore if you are getting back into running. And there's a couple of reasons that is happening. So the reason that's actually happening, why you're really feeling this, is your shoes could be causing that problem to occur, and B, it could have been the intensity and the volume that you kind of put your body through in that first one or two runs that you kind of went on this running season. So in terms of which one is going to be the higher contributor to it, really the volume is going to be the biggest deal. That is probably going to be the biggest contributor to it, is that volume, simply because you spend the entire winter season not really doing much. We don't go for a lot of runs. We don't do a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden we just snap our fingers and we're outside running 5-10 kilometers, if not more. And usually it won't take more than 2 to 3 kilometers extra. That substantial increase in volume, which doesn't seem very much in the grand scheme of things of what you're probably used to running in previous seasons, but that small difference is all you really need to kind of get that, or cause that problem to occur. So that's why I say, and I spoke about this in a previous episode, I said you easing into it is probably the best thing you can do. The reason I say ease into it is because, again, it's not going to make the biggest difference. Your you're almost dusting off the cobwebs. You're not going to feel so much better after running 5K or 10K right out of the gates, because your body's going to be so sore from all of the stuff you've been doing, aka your shins, and you're not really going to be getting any real benefit from it, because after that first run that you ran 5 or 10K, you're going to be sore. You're not going to run for a week. So all of those gains that you just did, all of the improvements that you were trying to make, are going to be gone by the second time you go for a run, because you had to create such a huge kind of rest period in between to recover. You want to really tone that down, and you want to go for frequency. I talk about this all the time. So start your runs off with either 1K run, at the very most 2K run. If not, even go, I would even take that a step back and go potentially just do intervals. So jog for about a minute, take a little minute, do a bit of walking, jog for a minute of walking, jog for a minute. Honestly, that first week for most of you that are getting back into running, probably just a write-off. I would highly recommend just writing off that first 1 or 2 weeks, really working on building that nice base and getting back out there. We talk about building the base, and honestly, building the base is really just, a lot of individuals go to the 5, 10Ks. That's their base. That's not really a base. That's kind of a little bit more than a base. You really want to aim for 1 to 2K. You have to remember that if you haven't ran before, a 1K run is a substantial jump in amount, in volume that you're putting your body through so early on, and we really think it's not, but it is a huge jump. So even that 2K might be too much. So what I would recommend, go to like a 1K and do it every single day. Try it the first day. If you're not sore the next day, you can run the next day. If you're not sore that day, run the next day. If you're a little sore, take a day off. but you're going to be able to get 3 days in, and your body's going to start building the layers and building that resistance, and and doing that is going to allow you to drastically increase the volume of exercise that you're doing. So really bring down that volume, and really bring up the volume very gradually. The stress that you're going to put on your shins will definitely thank you for it. And your shins will definitely thank you for it. So it really won't be this. And, I think I also want to talk a bit about the solution to that, but I'm going to leave that for the end. So, if you pay attention in the end, I will talk to you about how to resolve that. But in terms of why it's happening, volume is definitely the first one. The second little thing that could kind of come about is the shoe that you're wearing. And the reason I say that is simply because, a lot of us don't really think about our shoes in the sense of, the way it's built as being a negative contributor to what we're doing. Now, we usually talk about the heel support. We talk about the high arch support. We talk about, that nice cushioning. We talk about the rigidity, the structure of the shoes, your shoe well built, this, that, the other thing. Honestly, it could not be, the way shoes are made today could not be further away from what they should be. You need your shoe to be as close as you possibly can to the way your foot looks. So I usually tell people to go with these 3 rules. Number 1, you want flat. You don't want an arch, you don't want a heel. You want to stay as close as you possibly can to the ground. The closer you are to the ground, the more likely you are to replicate a natural running mechanic, which means your foot is coming in contact with the ground. That is as close as you want it to be. So get it as close as you can to the ground. Obviously, I'm not talking about running barefoot, but I'm talking about running with a very, very thin support, thin cushion under you at the very, very most. So that's number 1. Number 2, you want to make sure that your shoe is extremely mobile. It's extremely flexible. You could basically, I don't even have anything in front of me that I can crumple, but you basically want to be able to crumple it down, let it go, and it should flop back open. The less structural rigidity you have to that shoe, the more it's going to be able to kind of form to your foot and wrap to the foot and actually follow the sensations of the ground and be able to make the right adjustments. You don't want the shoe kind of hitting a little rock and knocking over 5 degrees. You want the shoe to kind of hit a rock and lift up a tiny bit on the outside, but nothing else moves. So your structural integrity is still there, and you can still use the rest of the shoe to support your body as you come in contact with the ground. So you want to make sure it's very mobile. Your foot is such a complex part of your body. It's so dramatically complex that if you start hiding it and kind of covering it up with the bulky shoes that we're usually wearing, you're gonna be hiding it from what it needs to do. So that's number 2. Number 3, I would tell you your toes. You don't wanna really crunch up your toes. You want your toes to be free. Your toes are like fingers. They help you balance. Every time they hit the ground, they're adjusting and kind of controlling, and all those little details and all those little things that you're doing are drastically going to impact the way your body responds and allows your mechanics to be much more free. So yes, your shoes can have an impact on you. And the reason I say that is if your shoes are, like I mentioned, high heel, high arch support, really tight around the toes, really bulky, really structurally rigid, what's happening is every time you come in contact with the ground, that shock that you're sending up your leg has to be absorbed. The other thing is that you're not allowing the muscles that are on the front of your leg that are attaching down below really get any work done, because your shoe is so restrictive in nature, it's not allowing it to do what it's supposed to do. Do I think that is necessarily the only and sole and probably majority reason why you are feeling that shin pain? No, not at all. I think it's drastically more tilted towards the volume, but I do think that shoe is going to have an impact. Do I think you should change your shoes? Yes, absolutely, because I think that the shoe is going to contribute to things down the road like knee pain, hip pain, back pain, foot pain, plantar fasciitis. Those things are going to come about down the road. So again, get a really minimalist shoe, something that you can just kind of roll up and bend up and flop around. That'll definitely help you later on. For the immediate shin pain, you're going to need to reduce that volume. Now, if you are unfortunately dealing with that right now, what I would tell you is, unfortunately, there's not really much you can do about it. Because it is muscle soreness, there is no real cure for it. What you have to do is just Wait it out. You're going to want to spend as much time as you possibly can just kind of relaxing, not really doing too much running, not really impacting it too much. You want to let it recover completely before you go into your next run. The reason I say that is simply because if you do not let it recover and you try to jump into your next run too quickly, what you are going to do is run into a tendonitis issue because you're going to be overworking that muscle. You're not going to be allowing it to recover properly, and it will eventually run out of forgiveness and you will get hurt. So take the 3 or 4 days, recover properly, start over. Again, throwing away that week, you will not notice it in the end, because by the time you get to September, October, that 1 week that you lost is so far gone that you're already made up and taken off so much. You're probably long gone from it. You're going to have made up all that ground. Do not worry about that 1 week that you're going to be losing to recover. I promise you'll not notice it in the long run. So in that meantime, what you could do is do something like a nice little foam rolling session, a nice little stretching session. So stretching the front of the muscles, front of that leg out, rolling the outside and just on the, the outer front portion of that shin. The reason I say that is, yes, it won't contribute, no, it won't contribute to improving or reducing the amount of soreness you're feeling, but it is going to contribute to good tissue quality. So like I tell you, when you have to be rolling your hamstrings, you want to be rolling, probably not your hamstrings. Well, it's another topic, but you won't want to be rolling your quads. You don't want to be rolling your glutes and all that stuff. You do want to be rolling your glutes and your quads and all that stuff. What you want to do as well is also start working on the tissues that are down below. So your foot, your calves, the shin bones, all those areas as well are going to contribute to the run and the impact that your run's going to have on you and your performance. So you want to make sure that tissue quality is top notch. So definitely spend some time doing that. But again, that will not get rid of the pain. It will not reduce this problem from happening. It will not stop this from occurring ever again. You really need to do those two things. Number one, change your shoes. But number B, most importantly, definitely ease up on those runs. I've spoken about this before to some of my clients, and a lot of them just went with, I'm going to change my shoes and I'm not going to reduce my volume. And they basically came back with the same, what's going on? Why isn't anything getting better? And I literally will tell them, like I'm telling you, if you do not reduce that volume, this problem will come back. Okay. So guys, please, spend a little bit of time going over what I spoke about today. Really start putting it to good use, because it really will will make or break your entire run performance. And again, if you guys are interested in getting hearing or listening or seeing some new run content or some exercise, some programs and stuff like that, keep an eye on my Instagram page. I'm posting stuff constantly. I'm really starting to go over that run stuff a bit more. Also check out my Facebook page, just at Bobak Owen. Look that up and you'll definitely find my Facebook page. You'll be able to definitely get some good content from there too, because I'm going to be posting a bit of different stuff everywhere. And again, until that next time, guys, keep building that foundation.